Right now we have a simple game. Doesn't do anything yet, except you can use the up, down, left, right keyboard keys to move the circle across the screen. And we have the code, and what we're going to do is add a little bit of code called collision detections that can tell when the ball is touching one of the colored squares, and then it'll change the ball into whatever color that square is. So let's go ahead and briefly go over the code that we have. Set up just like any other HTML document. We have the HTML, the head. You could stick a title in there if you wanted to. And you have the option to add CSS. And then we get into the body. We set up the canvas just like we always set up the canvas. This time I added a border, as you can see. You can change that in here if you wanted to make it a little bit thicker. And you dashed, and whatever, that's just CSS. Then we get into the JavaScript. Again, you start out setting up your canvas just like you set up any other canvas. You have your var_c, you set that to my canvas, you do the context, get context as 2D again. This time we're creating two variables to store the X and Y position of the circle. So as you can see, when we create the circle, instead of putting in a value here and a number value here, we actually create a specific value, in this case 30, and we set those to these variable names, circle X and circle Y. And that right here, this circle begins the game at 30, 30. So it'd be the same as if we were to put 30 here and 30 here. As you can see, we refresh that, and it's in the same place. Whereas if we did 40 and clicked refresh, and move it down a little bit. We're going to leave that as circle Y, and then the first one is our X value, so that would be circle X. Alright. And then we have another different variable here. We call this one, I called it new color, you could call it my color, you could call it circle color, you could call it whatever you want as long as you're consistent. I set that to an RGB value defined here. That happens to be this blue color here. We could go ahead and, if we wanted to, we could change that to yellow. Oops. So we save it, and if we refresh, we get a yellow circle. It's hard to see, so let's go ahead and make that orange. It's a little bit easier to see. So there we have our orange circle. So now what we want to do is, if the circle hits any of these squares, we want it to become the color of that square. First thing we do is up here, go ahead and make those squares. The blue square, we set its X value, its Y value, its width, and its height. And that one we had set the fill style to blue. We set a fill style to red, make the red square, green, make the green square. And we have our window.addEventListener. That means it's on this window here. So as long as you're clicked on here, you'll be able to trigger that keyboard event whenever you press a key. If, for example, you had something open like the JavaScript console, as you can see, you're clicked down here. So if you're trying to click any keys, it all goes down there. And it doesn't move anything here. You'd have to click up here in order to get that to move. Let's close out of that. And now we can move. So let's refresh this. Let's go in here and see. So once you click the key, any key, because this will also be triggered if you press like the F, the B, the space bar, any key on the keyboard. We're not looking for a specific key yet. So if you click any keyboard, any key, the keyboard, it's looking for a key down event, so that's when you hit the key down, not when it goes up, not when you let go, but when you actually press it down. it's going to trigger an event called onKeyDown, and that brings us in, and you could call this whatever you want as long as this is the same as this. And so we're just calling it onKeyDown because we're triggering the event when the key is down. That's an event, and we're clearing the rectangle space because remember, if we comment that out for a second, refresh, otherwise we end up with this long trail of orange circle. So we want to make sure we have this clear rectangle here, and we're just clearing, in this case we're just clearing the whole canvas. So let's refresh that, so that way we don't have those. But what we have to do then, down here, let's skip this stuff for a second, down here we have to rewrite everything. First we're rewriting, second we're rewriting the squares because those aren't moving, so we're just using those same values all the time. Here what we're doing is we're saying if the key, which the key code, we're saying variable key is the event.keycode, so that's the specific code that's attributed to that specific key. Every key on the keyboard has a number associated with it, just like it has a binary number. That's then converted into other numbers like these ones here. So we have, let's see, I think the right key is 37, the left key is 39, the down arrow, the up arrow is 38, and the down arrow is 40. So we're saying if you're clicking the left arrow, then you're going to subtract 5 from the current X position of the circle, and you're going to set that to the now new current X position of the circle. So if the circle, which we're starting at I believe we said 30, right? Yeah, so X equals 30 here. You press the left arrow, and now it's going to be X is going to be equal to X minus 5. So X now equals 25. You press it again, X now equals 20, etc. It does the same for the right, the up, and the down arrows as well. And then it draws that circle again with those new values. So in this case, if you press the left arrow, the X value would be 25. So let's refresh this. So as soon as you press left, now X value is 25, 20, etc. If you wanted to be able to check this, what you could do is console.log, and we'll just do circle X. And if we refresh that and open up the JavaScript console again, remember we have to click on the canvas here on the window. If you press it's the right arrow, and you could see, the left arrow, that's right. If you press the left arrow, you can see that the values are going down, 25, 20, 15, etc. So let's again close the JavaScript console, come back to here. Now what we want to do is check when the ball is touching a color. So we'll say, the simplest way to do this for this lesson is if the circle X, which is the X position, is greater than, let's get the blue rectangle, 150, because that's the starting X position of the blue rectangle, and the circle X is less than, how wide is it? It's 30, so less than 180, and we want it to be in the circle itself. The circle Y value is greater than 30, and circle Y is less than, let's see, 30 plus the height is 30, so less than 60. Then, let's close that. Then, we're going to set that, remember the new color variable, we're going to set that equal to blue. Let's go ahead and refresh. And now if we go over here, there we go. As soon as both the Y value and the X value are equal to the square's y and x value, or greater or less than it. Remember that we're looking for the center of the circle is that x value. So as soon as this part of the circle is within this square, that's when the event is going to be triggered, and that's when all of this is true, and we get the new color of blue. And now let's say we want it to do the same for the red, so else if circle x is greater than, there is a more exact way to do this, but for now we're going to do it the more simple way. So again, for the red we want greater than 150, and circle x needs to be less than, let's see, 150 plus 30 again is 180, and we want circle y to be greater than, this time it's 130, and we want it to be less than, it's 130 plus 30, we want it to be less than 160. Alright, and again, we have our rectangle here, so this is the, that's the 150, so that's 150 here, and that goes 30 pixels wide, so that'd be 180, and then here is, was it 130? So here's also 130y, so this is 150 comma 130, and we want to go 30 pixels down, so that's 160, so this is 150 comma 130, and this is 150 comma 160, and this is 180 comma 130, and this corner here is 180 comma 160. So as soon as the center of the circle here is within this area here, if we were to refresh this and we come over here, so right now it's not going to do anything. We're waiting for this right here, this center of the circle, to enter. So as soon as I press a down arrow, it should work. There we go. As soon as that circle's within this square, that's when everything here is true. So this time we want new color to be equal to whatever this circle, this square is, which is red. Let's do that, and forgot something. What doesn't it like? New color is red. Let's go ahead and check out the JavaScript console. It doesn't like a less than token on line 74. So, because we forgot to put in circle y. Whoops. Alright, save that, refresh, and there we go. Alright, so now, if we, let's see, if we go here and down, that becomes red, but if we go back up here, we still get blue, because every time we press a key, this whole function here is run. So we could go back and forth between the two of them. And so now you know how to do for the green square as well. Also, you should be able to figure out, if you do a bit of subtraction and addition, if you remember this right here in the circle is the x comma y value. So in the beginning, remember we set it to 30, 30. So this right here is 30, 30. Not this, not this, just this here in the center is 30, 30. And that center is what needs to cross into this, into these squares here for it to, change colors. So our radius would be from the center x, y over to any of these sides here. So in our case, the radius, what is our circle? The radius is 20. That starts out from this center of the circle, and goes to any of the sides. So if we wanted to find out where the edge is, we would either add or subtract 20 from our circle x and circle y values. So the radius on this side, for example, would be 30 plus 20, which would give us 50. So this border here would be 50. So down here we would say if circle x, let's just do that, if circle x plus 20 is greater than 150, and as long as it's, we'll leave that one for now, so we'll do this, and if we refresh, then as soon as that's greater, as you can see, the center is still over here, so as soon as that's greater, then it'll work. On the red we didn't change that, so we still need the center to go through.